In the vast, uncharted cosmos of human consciousness, there exists a quiet whisper, murmured promise that reality is not what it seems. It is a whisper that slips through the cracks of our waking lives, brushing against the edges of dreams and dissolving into the silence of deep contemplation. This whisper carries with it an invitation, one that beckons us to peer beyond the veil of ordinary perception and uncover the hidden architecture of existence. At the heart of this invitation lies a profound mystery, one that has been whispered through the ages in sacred texts, esoteric teachings, and the timeless wisdom of mystics. The activation of the pineal gland as a gateway to divine awareness. And within this cosmic narrative, the figure of Jesus emerges not merely as a historical or religious icon, but as a guide whose secret teachings hold the keys to awakening this inner sanctum of light. Imagine, if you will, the pineal gland as a forgotten star buried deep within the caverns of the human brain, its faint glow obscured by layers of earthly concerns, societal conditioning, and the ceaseless chatter of the mind. In many traditions, this tiny organ has been likened to the third eye, a portal through which the soul peers into the infinite expanse of the unseen. Yet, for most of us, it remains dormant, encrusted with the residue of doubt, fear, and the relentless pull of material existence. What if, however, there were ancient instructions, hidden in plain sight, designed to awaken this celestial beacon? What if the teachings of Jesus, often cloaked in metaphor and allegory, were never solely about salvation in the external sense, but also about igniting an internal transformation, a resurrection of the spirit within? To approach this idea is to step into a realm where science and spirituality converge like two rivers meeting at a sacred confluence. Modern neuroscience speaks of the pineal gland as a regulator of circadian rhythms, a biological clock that responds to light and darkness. But ancient wisdom traditions have long regarded it as something far more profound, a bridge between the physical and the metaphysical, a locus of divine connection. The pineal gland, they say, is the seat of the soul, a crystalline structure capable of translating the frequencies of higher dimensions into the language of human experience. When activated, it is said to open pathways to intuition, insight, and even visions of the diviner notion that resonates deeply with the mystical aspects of Christianity, where Jesus himself is portrayed as a being who walked between worlds, embodying both the human and the divine. The teachings of Jesus, when viewed through this lens, take on a luminous quality, revealing layers of meaning that transcend the literal interpretations often imposed upon them. Consider the Sermon on the Mount, where Jesus speaks of light. The eye is the lamp of the body. If your eyes are healthy, your whole body will be full of light. Is this merely a poetic metaphor, or could it be an encoded instruction for awakening the inner light within the pineal gland? Or take the parable of the mustard seed, which grows into a great tree might. This symbolized the potential for a small, seemingly insignificant spark within the human soul to expand into a vast, interconnected awareness. These teachings, rich with symbolic resonance, invite us to see Jesus not only as a teacher of morality, but as a master of consciousness, offering tools and insights to help humanity ascend to higher states of being. And yet, why does this matter now, in an age dominated by technology, information, and the relentless pursuit of progress? Perhaps because, amidst the noise and haste of modern life, we have lost touch with the quiet, eternal truths that reside within us. The pineal gland, in its dormant state, is like a treasure buried beneath layers of distraction, reminder that the answers we seek are not outside of us, but within. To activate it is to reclaim a piece of our divine heritage, to reconnect with the source from which all creation flows. It is to remember that we are not merely passengers on this earthbound journey, but co-creators of our reality, endowed with the power to shape our lives and the world around us. As we embark on this exploration of the secret teachings of Jesus to activate the pineal gland, Let us do so with a sense of reverence and curiosity, as though venturing into a sacred temple hidden within the folds of our own minds. Let us allow the words of Jesus, refracted through the prism of ancient wisdom and modern understanding, to illuminate the path before us. For in doing so, we may discover that the true miracle is not the activation of the pineal gland itself, but the realization that we have always been connected to the infinite, that the divine resides not somewhere far away, but deep within the sanctuary of our own being. At the heart of the secret teachings of Jesus, to activate the pineal gland lies a profound interplay between light and shadow, truth and illusion, the seen and the unseen. These dualities are not merely abstract philosophical constructs, but living forces that shape our perception of reality. To delve into these teachings is to embark on a journey through the architecture of consciousness itself, where every word of Jesus carries the weight of cosmic significance, and every metaphor serves as a key to unlocking deeper layers of understanding. Here, we encounter themes that transcend time and culture, resonating with universal patterns that echo across the ages like the faint hum of a celestial chord. One of the foundational pillars of these teachings is the idea of awakening. Awakening not as a single event, but as an ongoing process of becoming. In the Gospel of Thomas, a text often associated with the esoteric traditions of early Christianity, Jesus declares, "If you bring forth what is within you, what you bring forth will save you. If you do not bring forth what is within you, what you do not bring forth will destroy you." This enigmatic statement speaks directly to the dormant potential housed within the pineal gland, suggesting that salvation or liberation is not something bestowed from without, but something cultivated from within. It is a call to action, urging us to awaken the latent light hidden in the depths of our being, to nurture it until it shines brightly enough to illuminate the path ahead. This theme of inner light is intricately tied to the concept of gnosis, or spiritual knowledge, which forms another cornerstone of these teachings. Gnosis is not intellectual knowledge, but an experiential knowing, direct encounter with the divine that transcends the limitations of language and thought. In this context, the pineal gland acts as a conduit for gnosis, transforming abstract truths into lived realities. Imagine standing in a darkened room, holding a lantern whose flame flickers weakly at first, but grows stronger as you focus your attention on it. The room around you begins to take shape, revealing details that were previously obscured by shadows. Similarly, the activation of the pineal gland allows us to perceive dimensions of reality that lie beyond the reach of ordinary senses, granting access to insights that feel both ancient and eternal. Yet, this journey toward illumination is not without its challenges. The teachings of Jesus often emphasize the necessity of overcoming obstacles, both external and internal, that obstruct the flow of divine light. One such obstacle is the illusion of separation, the pervasive belief that we are isolated beings navigating a fragmented world. This illusion manifests in countless ways: the ego's insistence on individuality, societal structures that reinforce division, and the fear-based narratives that keep humanity trapped in cycles of conflict and suffering. But Jesus offers a radical alternative, encapsulated in his declaration, "I am the vine, you are the branches." This metaphor underscores the interconnectedness of all life, reminding us that we are not separate from one another or from the divine, but integral parts of a greater whole. To activate the pineal gland is to dissolve the boundaries that divide us, allowing the currents of unity to flow freely once more. Another central theme is the role of intention and alignment in the awakening process. Just as a seed requires fertile soil, water, and sunlight to grow, so too does the activation of the pineal gland depend on cultivating the right conditions within ourselves. This involves aligning our thoughts, emotions, and actions with higher frequencies of love, compassion, and truth. Jesus frequently spoke of the importance of purity of heart, urging his followers to let their yes be yes and their no be no, to live authentically and without pretense. Such alignment creates a resonance that harmonizes with the vibrational essence of the divine, facilitating the release of blockages that inhibit the pineal gland's function. It is akin to tuning an instrument until it produces a clear, resonant tone or process that requires patience, discipline, and unwavering commitment. The symbolism of water also plays a significant role in these teachings, representing both purification and transformation. Water is fluid, adaptable, and capable of shaping even the hardest stone over time. In the same way, the activation of the pineal gland requires a willingness to surrender rigid beliefs and embrace the flow of divine grace. Consider the story of Jesus walking on water, a feat that defies the laws of physics, yet carries profound metaphysical implications. What if this act symbolizes the mastery of consciousness, the ability to rise above the turbulent waters of fear and doubt and navigate the realm of infinite possibilities? To activate the pineal gland is to learn how to walk upon the waters of our own subconscious, transforming chaos into clarity and confusion into wisdom. Finally, there is the recurring motif of rebirth, a theme that permeates the teachings of Jesus and finds expression in the very structure of the pineal gland itself. Often referred to as the seat of the soul, the pineal gland contains calcite microcrystals that resemble tiny diamonds, sparkling with the potential for renewal. This crystalline composition mirrors the alchemical process of transmutation, wherein base elements are refined into gold. Jesus speaks of this process when he says, "No one can see the kingdom of God unless they are born again." Rebirth, in this sense, is not a literal event, but a symbolic death of the old self and the emergence of a new, awakened identity, one that is aligned with the higher frequencies of consciousness. It is a shedding of the cocoon, a moment of emergence into the fullness of being. As we reflect on these core themes and concepts, we begin to see how they weave together into a tapestry of profound insight and timeless relevance. Each thread, whether it be awakening, gnosis, interconnectedness, alignment, or rebirth, contributes to a larger pattern that points toward the ultimate goal, the realization of our divine nature. Through the lens of the secret teachings of Jesus, to activate the pineal gland, we are invited to view ourselves not as mere mortals bound by the constraints of flesh and time, but as luminous beings capable of accessing the infinite wellspring of creation. And yet, these teachings are not meant to remain abstract. They beckon us to embody them, to live them in the crucible of everyday existence. To truly grasp the essence of the secret teachings of Jesus, to activate the pineal gland, one must journey beyond the surface of words and delve into the rich tapestry of symbolic narratives that lie beneath. These stories, steeped in allegory and metaphor, serve as mirrors reflecting the inner workings of the human soul. They are not mere tales but living archetypes, each carrying a fragment of universal truth encoded within its structure. Like constellations in the night sky, they guide us through the labyrinth of consciousness, illuminating hidden pathways and revealing the sacred geometry of existence. Consider the parable of the mustard seed, perhaps one of the most evocative symbols in the teachings of Jesus. A tiny seed, seemingly insignificant, is planted in the soil and grows into a towering tree, a metaphor for the potential latent within every human being. The pineal gland, like this seed, may appear small and unassuming, yet it holds the power to transform the entire landscape of our awareness. The act of planting the seed represents intention, the conscious decision to nurture the dormant spark within. But intention alone is not enough. The seed requires care, patience, and faith to flourish. It must be watered with love, nourished by the light of higher truths, and shielded from the storms of doubt and fear. When these conditions are met, the seed unfurls its leaves, reaching toward the heavens, embodying the upward ascent of consciousness. This parable invites us to see ourselves as gardeners of the soul, tending to the fertile ground of our inner world so that the divine light within can grow and expand. Now imagine another narrative, one where Jesus speaks of the kingdom of heaven as something within you. Picture a vast, hidden temple buried deep beneath the earth, its entrance concealed by layers of rock and vegetation. This temple symbolizes the inner sanctum of the pineal gland, a sacred space waiting to be rediscovered. To enter, one must first navigate the winding tunnels of the subconscious, shadowy corridors filled with echoes of past traumas, unexamined fears, and forgotten dreams. Along the way, guardians emerge, testing the traveler's resolve and demanding clarity of purpose. These guardians are not external forces, but aspects of the self, manifestations of the ego's resistance to change. Only by confronting them with courage and authenticity can one reach the chamber at the heart of the temple, where the pineal gland resides, like a radiant jewel pulsing with divine energy. Here, the seeker encounters their true nature, luminous presence that has always existed, but was obscured by the veils of illusion. This story reminds us that the journey to activate the pineal gland is also a journey inward, a pilgrimage to the core of our being. Another powerful allegory is found in the story of the Transfiguration, where Jesus ascends a mountain and is transformed before his disciples, his face shining like the sun and his garments becoming dazzling white. This event is often interpreted as a moment of divine revelation, but it can also be seen as a representation of pineal activation. The mountain symbolizes the ascent of consciousness, the arduous climb required to transcend the lower planes of existence. As Jesus reaches the summit, he undergoes a metamorphosis, shedding the limitations of the physical form and radiating pure light. His transformation inspires awe in those who witness it, yet they are unable to fully comprehend what they have seen. Similarly, when the pineal gland awakens, it floods the mind with visions and insights that defy conventional understanding. The individual becomes a conduit for higher frequencies, their presence imbued with an otherworldly glow. But such moments of illumination are fleeting, requiring integration and grounding to sustain their impact. The Transfiguration thus serves as both a promise and a challenge, a glimpse of what is possible, coupled with the responsibility to embody that light in the world. Let us now turn to the image of the vine and the branches, a recurring motif in Jesus' teachings. Imagine a sprawling grapevine, its roots anchored deeply in the earth, while its branches stretch outward, bearing fruit. Each branch is connected to the central stem, drawing sustenance from its life-giving flow. In this analogy, the vine represents the divine source, the ultimate wellspring of creation, while the branches symbolize individual souls. The pineal gland functions as the point of connection, the nexus through which the divine energy flows into human consciousness. If the branch becomes severed or damaged, it withers and dies, cut off from the nourishment it needs to thrive. Likewise, when the pineal gland is blocked or calcified, the flow of divine light diminishes, leaving the individual disconnected and adrift. To restore this connection, one must tend to the vine, ensuring that it remains strong and healthy. This involves practices such as meditation, prayer, and contemplation activities that clear the channels of communication between the soul and the source. Through these practices, the individual reclaims their place within the greater web of life, recognizing themselves as an integral part of the cosmic whole. Finally, consider the story of Lazarus, raised from the dead after 4 days in the tomb. This narrative speaks directly to the theme of resurrection, not as a literal return from death, but as a spiritual rebirth facilitated by the activation of the pineal gland. Lazarus represents the dormant soul, entombed in the darkness of ignorance and separation. The call of Jesus, "Lazarus, come forth," is a summons to awaken, to step out of the confines of the old self and embrace a new way of being. The act of emerging from the tomb symbolizes the breaking free from limiting beliefs and patterns that bind us to the material plane. It is a moment of liberation, a shedding of the shroud of illusion that has kept us imprisoned in a narrow view of reality. Yet, the story does not end there. After Lazarus is revived, he must learn to live anew, navigating the challenges of his transformed existence. This reflects the ongoing process of integration that follows the initial awakening of the pineal gland. Awakening is not a destination, but a threshold, marking the beginning of a lifelong journey toward mastery and wholeness. These symbolic narratives, woven together like threads in a grand cosmic tapestry, offer profound insights into the nature of the pineal gland and its role in human evolution. They remind us that the teachings of Jesus are not confined to the pages of Scripture, but are alive within us, waiting to be uncovered and embodied. They invite us to see ourselves as participants in a timeless drama, actors on the stage of eternity, playing our part in the unfolding story of creation. And they assure us that, no matter how obscured or forgotten, the light within us cannot be extinguished, simply awaits the touch of awareness to reignite its flame. The journey to awaken the pineal gland, as illuminated by the secret teachings of Jesus, is not a retreat into esoteric abstraction, but an invitation to weave the sacred into the fabric of everyday life. These teachings, rich with symbolic depth and metaphysical insight, are profoundly practical in their essence. They call us not to abandon the world, but to transform it, to infuse our daily actions, relationships, and choices with the light of higher awareness. To integrate these principles is to step into the role of a conscious creator, aligning the rhythms of our lives with the eternal laws that govern existence. It is here, in the crucible of real-world application, that the abstract becomes tangible and the mystical finds its expression in the mundane. Consider the practice of meditation, one of the most accessible yet transformative tools for activating the pineal gland. In stillness, we create a sanctuary within ourselves, sacred space where the noise of the external world fades and the whispers of the soul grow louder. Meditation acts as a bridge between the physical and the spiritual, allowing the mind to attune itself to subtler frequencies. As we sit in silence, focusing on the breath or visualizing light flooding the center of the brain, we begin to dissolve the calcifications, both literal and metaphorical, that obscure the pineal gland's function. This practice is not reserved for monks or mystics. It is available to anyone willing to carve out even a few minutes each day to connect with their inner being. Over time, this discipline cultivates clarity, intuition, and a heightened sense of presence, enabling us to navigate life with greater wisdom and purpose. Yet, meditation alone is insufficient if it remains disconnected from the way we live. The teachings of Jesus emphasize alignment, not just within ourselves, but with the world around us. This alignment begins with intention, the seed from which all actions spring. When we set intentions rooted in love, truth, and service, we create ripples that extend far beyond our immediate sphere. For instance, consider how the simple act of mindful communication can transform relationships. By speaking with authenticity and listening with empathy, we honor the interconnectedness that Jesus so often emphasized. We recognize that every interaction is an opportunity to reflect divine light, whether it is a conversation with a loved one, a gesture of kindness toward a stranger, or even a moment of patience in the face of frustration. These small, seemingly insignificant acts accumulate over time, shaping the collective consciousness and contributing to a more harmonious world. Another powerful avenue for integration lies in the cultivation of gratitude and wonder. Gratitude is more than a fleeting emotion. It is a state of being that opens the heart and amplifies the flow of divine energy. When we express gratitude for the beauty of nature, the support of friends, or the lessons hidden within challenges, we activate the pineal gland's capacity to perceive the sacred in the ordinary. Similarly, embracing wonder invites us to see the world through the eyes of a child, marveling at the intricate patterns of a leaf, the dance of sunlight on water, or the miracle of human connection. These practices shift our perspective, dissolving the illusion of separation and reminding us that we are part of a vast, interconnected web of life. They also serve as antidotes to the cynicism and despair that often plague modern existence, offering a pathway back to joy and reverence. The activation of the pineal gland also has profound implications for creativity and innovation. When we tap into the wellspring of divine inspiration, we unlock new dimensions of possibility. Artists, writers, scientists, and visionaries throughout history have spoken of moments when ideas seemed to flow effortlessly, as though guided by an unseen hand. These moments are glimpses of pineal activation, instances when the veil between worlds grows thin and the infinite pours through. By engaging in creative pursuits, whether painting, writing, gardening, or problem-solving, we not only express our unique gifts, but also contribute to the evolution of humanity. Creativity, in this sense, becomes an act of co-creation with the divine, a way of participating in the unfolding story of the cosmos. Moreover, the teachings of Jesus remind us that awakening is inherently relational. It is not a solitary endeavor, but a shared journey, one that calls us to uplift others as we rise ourselves. Acts of service, grounded in compassion and humility, are among the most potent ways to embody the light of the awakened pineal gland. Whether volunteering in our communities, mentoring those in need, or simply offering a listening ear, we become conduits for divine grace. These actions not only benefit others, but also deepen our own connection to the source, reinforcing the truth that giving and receiving are two sides of the same coin. In serving others, we discover that the boundaries between self and other blur, revealing the unity that underlies all existence. Finally, the integration of these teachings requires a commitment to personal growth and self-awareness. Awakening the pineal gland is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process that demands vigilance and courage. It asks us to confront the shadow, the parts of ourselves we would rather ignore, and to embrace them with compassion. This inner work is essential, for until we heal the wounds of the past and release the fears that bind us, we cannot fully step into our power. Tools such as journaling, therapy, and reflective practices help us navigate this terrain, providing guidance as we traverse the depths of our psyche. Along the way, we learn to forgive not only others, but also ourselves, to trust in the perfection of the journey, even when it feels uncertain or challenging. As we bring these teachings into the world, we begin to see their ripple effects. A life lived in alignment with the principles of awakening inspires others to embark on their own journeys. It creates a resonance, a vibrational shift that influences the collective field. Imagine a society where individuals prioritize inner peace over external achievement, where compassion supersedes competition, and where creativity flourishes in service of the greater good. Such a vision may seem idealistic, but it is not beyond reach. Each of us holds the power to contribute to this transformation, one mindful choice at a time. As we draw this exploration to a close, let us pause and reflect on the profound journey we have undertaken, a journey that has taken us from the hidden chambers of the pineal gland to the boundless expanse of divine consciousness. What began as an inquiry into the secret teachings of Jesus to activate the pineal gland has unfolded into a cosmic tapestry of light, wisdom, and transformation. Each thread of insight, whether woven through metaphor, allegory, or practical guidance, has led us closer to the realization that the answers we seek are not distant or external, but reside within the sanctuary of our own being. This is the ultimate paradox. The divine is both immeasurably vast and intimately personal, a truth that invites us to embrace the mystery while grounding ourselves in the sacred ordinariness of life. At its core, this exploration has been about awakening, not merely as a metaphysical phenomenon, but as a lived experience. Awakening the pineal gland, as guided by the teachings of Jesus, is not an end in itself, but a means to reconnect with the source of all creation. It is a process of remembering who we truly are, luminous beings capable of perceiving and participating in the infinite dance of existence. The parables of Jesus, the symbolic narratives, and the practical tools we have discussed all point toward this singular truth. We are co-creators in the unfolding story of the cosmos, endowed with the power to shape reality through the lens of love, truth, and unity. To awaken is to step into this role with humility and grace, recognizing that every thought, word, and action contributes to the collective symphony of life. Yet, for all its grandeur, this awakening does not demand grand gestures or dramatic transformations. It begins in the quiet moments, the stillness of meditation, the sincerity of gratitude, the gentle act of kindness. These small, deliberate choices ripple outward, creating waves of change that extend far beyond what we can see. They remind us that the sacred is not confined to mountaintops or temples, but is present in the simplest acts of everyday living. To water a plant, to listen deeply, to forgive freely, these are acts of divinity, each one a spark of light that illuminates the path for others. In this way, the activation of the pineal gland becomes not just a personal endeavor, but a collective movement, a shared awakening that uplifts humanity as a whole. As we stand at this threshold, we are called to ask ourselves, what will we do with this knowledge? Will we allow it to remain abstract, a beautiful idea that fades with time, or will we embody it, letting it reshape the way we live and interact with the world? The choice is ours, and it is a choice imbued with immense responsibility. To awaken is to accept the mantle of stewardship, to care for ourselves, for others, and for the planet with the same reverence we would offer to the divine. It is to recognize that the earth itself is a living temple, a reflection of the sacred geometry that courses through our veins and stars alike. And it is to honor this temple by living in harmony with its rhythms, tending to its wounds, and celebrating its beauty. Let us also remember that this journey is not linear. There will be moments of clarity and moments of doubt, periods of profound connection and stretches of seeming disconnection. Such is the nature of the human experience, a cycle of ebb and flow that mirrors the seasons of the earth. Yet, even in the darkest nights, the light remains, waiting patiently for us to turn inward and rediscover it. The teachings of Jesus remind us that faith is not the absence of fear, but the courage to move forward despite it. They assure us that we are never alone, that the divine presence accompanies us at every step, guiding us gently back to the truth of who we are. And so, as we conclude, let this be our transformational call, to rise, to shine, and to become the light we wish to see in the world. Let us commit to nurturing the seed of awakening within us, watering it with intention, compassion, and authenticity until it blossoms into a radiant expression of our highest potential. Let us walk the path of integration, bringing the teachings of Jesus into every corner of our lives, from the solitude of meditation to the bustling streets of our communities. And let us trust in the perfection of the journey, knowing that every step, no matter how small, brings us closer to the divine. In the end, the activation of the pineal gland is not about acquiring something new, but about reclaiming what has always been ours, a direct connection to the infinite wellspring of creation. It is about remembering that we are not separate from the divine, but expressions of it, vessels through which the eternal flows into the temporal. As we embrace this truth, we begin to see the world anew, infused with wonder, purpose, and possibility. We become participants in a grand, unfolding mystery, co-creators of a reality that reflects the beauty and unity of the cosmos. May this exploration serve as both a mirror and a map, as a mirror reflecting the light already within you, and as a map guiding you deeper into the mysteries of your soul. May it inspire you to take the next step, however uncertain, trusting that the universe conspires to support your highest good. And may it remind you that the journey of awakening is not a solitary one, but a shared pilgrimage, a collective rising into the fullness of who we are meant to be.